Hi yogis, welcome to this week's session of gentle and restorative yoga. We'll start today in easy seated pose, grabbing a block, a cushion, or a bolster as desired in order to lift our sit bones for greater diaphragmatic breathing. Crossing our feet, however is most suitable and comfortable today, and allowing our hands to open, palms facing up. Taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, to tune into our bodies, the rhythm of our breath, and the mood of our body today. Noticing the muscles in our faces relax and melt towards the floor. Noticing now the rhythm of our breath, the speed of the inhalations and the exhalations, and the pause at the bottom of each exhale. Allowing our breath to assume its natural rhythm. Taking a moment to run through a body scan from head to toe, not missing any part of the body, not getting stuck on any part, rather flowing all the way through, noticing where we may feel lightness or heaviness, comfort or discomfort, getting a general sense of the mood and the state of our bodies today in this moment. Bringing our attention back to the breath, noticing the rising and falling sensation of our chest and the expansion of our lungs and our ribs laterally. Drawing the breath all the way through the lungs and into the abdomen and further into the lower back. Possibly noticing the inhale rising all the way up the spine, circling and dancing around the spine from tailbone to crown of the head. Taking a moment to set an intention for today's practice if you so desire. Perhaps it's the reason you came to the mat today. Drawing in new energy and curiosity with our inhalations, and letting go of judgment, competition, and expectation with our exhalations. Bringing our attention back to the sounds and the smells of the spaces around us. We open our eyes, gently switching the position of our feet so that they are opposite. Whichever was in front is now behind. Readjusting as needed, and slowly starting with shoulder raises on the inhale, and on the exhale we lower the shoulders down. Inhale, lifting them up towards the ears. And exhale, we lower them down. We'll do 3 more like this. Last one. Go ahead and roll the shoulders back. Switching directions, we'll roll them forward. Last one. Good. Bring your hands onto the knees. We'll slowly start to circle around, choosing any direction, circling gently, slowly, starting to warm up the spine and the lower back and the sides of our bodies. Inhale as we lift our spine back to an erect state. Exhale as we lower forward, hinging at the hips. Breathing through our noses, warming the breath. And slowly starting to breathe with sound as the breath runs along the back of our nasal cavity and throat. One more in this direction. And then we'll slowly transition, going the opposite direction. Being gentle with our bodies today so as not to create any stress in the mind. Being aware of the mind-body connection and flowing to the rhythm of our breath. Two more in this direction. Coming back to the center, lifting our right arm up on the inhale and lower on the exhale. Switching arms, inhale, lifting our left arm, exhale, lower, inhale, slowly starting to bring the back into it. The chest, lifting it up to the sky, opening ourselves up as we breathe deeply, filling the lungs, possibly adding a slight rotation of the upper body. One more on each side. Good. With the right arm lifting, we'll rotate all the way behind, planting the right hand behind us, using the left hand as leverage, gazing over our right shoulder. Maintaining an erect spine, elongating all the way up through the crown of the head. Maintaining a steady breath. Two more breaths. And then on the inhale, we lift our arm all the way back up and circle around. Repeating the same motion with the opposite arm. Exhale, lowering the hand behind us, coming up on the fingertips to ensure our spine is nice and tall. Gazing over our left shoulders. And breathing deeply, expanding the rib cage laterally. Noticing our breath and what's happening in our jaws and necks. Ensuring not to press too hard. Letting our breath guide us. If it becomes labored, perhaps we need to ease off a little. Two more breaths. And we'll come out of that on the inhale, swooping our arm back up, hand around. Good. Shifting now onto our glutes. We'll extend our legs in front of us, coming into staff pose. Giving the legs a little wiggle. Oh, that feels good. Adjusting the sit bones so they're firmly planted on the mat. Wiggling out the knees. Flexing the feet. Good. And we'll wriggle around our ankles and our wrists. Getting the circulation moving through our legs and our arms. Good. Staying here, keeping our feet flexed. We'll reach out parallel to the floor, lowering our heads, chins to chest, and we'll slowly hinge at the hips, pulsing, reaching towards the feet or beyond. Gentle pulses, noticing the sensations in the back of our legs, perhaps tension or blocked energy we may be holding on to. The goal of today's session is to release that energy we may have created in other classes or sessions this week, or from our posture at work, sitting too much in the car or desk. We want to release that, elongating the muscles through the back body, creating a little bit of space to breathe. And coming out of that on the inhale, we roll up gently, stacking our vertebrae, shoulders, neck, and head. Tucking our right leg in to seated tree pose. We'll rotate over the extended leg once again, keeping our foot flexed, toes are pointed to the sky. And slowly we hinge forward at the hip, bending the knee as needed in order to feel the back of the hamstring start to stretch. Once again, you are welcome to pulse here or reach forward, listening to our bodies, perhaps feeling something happening in the lower back, the hamstring, even up to the glute. Be gentle and aware. Breathing the muscles long. Consider visualizing a waterfall, washing down the muscles and ligaments of our hamstrings into our knees and calf muscles as we ease our way into the stretch slowly and steadily, going to our max capacity today, honoring the state of our bodies, finding blocks if that helps support you. Good. On the inhale, we'll lift ourselves back up, pressing against the floor, the thigh, or the shin. Great. Tucking the left leg in, seated tree pose. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Good. Hinging over the extended leg, flexing the foot. And when you're ready, slowly folding forward over that leg, supporting as needed. And gently breathing ourselves long into the stretch, into the pose. Elongating the spine as we hinge forward so as not to round out the lower back. Remember, there is no expectation other than where your body should be. No competition as to which pose, how to fit the pose to your body. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. Good. Stacking the vertebrae once again. Coming back to center, drawing both feet together. Diamond pose, bringing up the soles of our feet together, wrapping our hands around the feet or the shins just above the ankles, using the ankles as leverage, hinging forward. Again, we maintain an erect spine, pressing the knees away, drawing the chest over top of the feet. We bring our awareness back to the breath. Good. And go ahead and round out, rolling the shoulders forward, allowing the arms to fall where they will, releasing the knees, and allowing the chin to lower to the chest. Possibly feeling a little tucking in the hips, maybe even the lower back, the shoulders, and the neck. Listen to our bodies. They will tell us what's happening and what we need. We just need to listen. Great. Pressing up gently, stacking our vertebrae. We'll come into a rock pose on our knees, tucking our knees underneath us, under our hips, sinking back into our heels, grabbing a block, a bolster, even a rolling pad as needed. If we need to tuck it underneath the thigh muscles, or in a passive stretch, tucking it underneath our glutes to keep us elevated a little bit. Again, listen to the knees here. Good. Starting off with some neck rolls, allowing the head to roll around in a half circle or a circle as suits you best. Gentle rolls. Once again, going to the rhythm of our breath. Being aware of the sensations we may be feeling. Reminding ourselves that sensations are temporary. One more time in this direction. And then we'll switch. Giving a little gratitude to our necks for all of the work it does to hold our heads high. Good. Last circle. We come back to center, lifting our heads slowly. And then with the right arm extended out on a diagonal, go ahead and reach the left hand up towards the head, bending the neck, reaching long so as not to bring the ear towards the shoulder, but to extend the neck in a neutral position, creating space in the right side of the neck and shoulder. Moving the right arm around. Perhaps there's tension there that you're not aware of. We can work through it here by breathing into it and creating space with our breath. Good. One more breath. We'll bring our heads back to center, bringing our right arm on top of the head, elongating the spine. Putting a little pressure on the top of the head, extending the left arm diagonally. Once again, exploring a position for the arm and the head, creating space between the neck, the vertebrae, and the shoulder. Good. One more breath. We come back to center. Rolling out the shoulders. Good. Welcome back. Coming on to all fours, removing whatever block or prop you may have been using. Bring our hands all the way under the chest. The hips are stacked on top of the knees. Slowly starting to shift our weight left and right. Expanding through the side body, even into the hips. If you'd like to add a gentle rotation of the hips left and right, warming into the hip joints, the glutes, and the lower back. Let's go ahead and allow the head as well to hang heavy, swaying side to side as we move with our breath. Holding on one side, gazing back towards the feet, pressing away from the mat. Good. Pressing through to the other side. Holding here for a count of 5 breaths. Coming back to center. And we'll go ahead and do a traditional cat-cow, pressing away into the shoulder blades, lifting our heads. On the exhale, we round out the lower back through spine, shoulders, neck, and head. On the inhale, once again, we lift the tailbone, flowing through. Exhale, floating back. 3 more. Going to the rhythm of our breath. Breathing with sound. Activating the parasympathetic nervous system to balance out the nervous system, all the stress and tension that may have built up over the week. Feeling the abdominal muscles engage as we exhale and look back towards the feet. One more time. Good. And coming back to center again. Rocking forward and back, shifting our weight over the wrists and the ankles. One more. And coming all the way back into child's pose, extended child's pose, allowing our hips to shift left and right, our heads to hang heavy, flowing with the shift. Go ahead. And on the next inhale, we bring ourselves all the way back up, curling our toes under the shins, and we step up. We lift up into down dog. Taking a first few breaths to pedal out the legs, extending one while we bend the other. Purposefully pressing the knee back towards the wall. And pressing our heels into the mat as we shift our weight from one leg to the next. Good. Pressing now all the way into the right heel. The left knee is bent. We're going to go ahead and rotate the left knee underneath our bodies. You should be feeling a little bit of extra talking here through the lower back and into the hip. This is good. Press through it. Perhaps you wish to sway. Exploring the pose and how your body responds to it. Breathing long through the diagonal position of our bodies, from left hand into right foot. Good. Coming back to center, once again pedaling out. And then we'll press all of our weight over to the left heel, bending the right knee, rotating it underneath the body. And once again exploring this side and the diagonal pathway from the right hand to the left foot. You may even feel a little bit of energy running through from the knee to the ankle. Sway and circle, moving through it, finding a pose that works best for you. Good. One more breath. And we'll pedal out again, coming back to center. Lovely. Pressing back into our armpits, pressing the chest towards the ground. Finding firm grounding in our fingers, gripping all 5 fingers into the mat. And now go ahead and press both heels towards the mat, bending the knees as desired. Perhaps that feels better on the lower back or the hamstrings. This is your down dog. Make it fit your body. On the next inhale, we'll lift our right legs off the mat. Gazing forward, coming up on our left toes, we'll step through into a low lunge, helping the foot forward as needed, grabbing a cushion or a blanket to support the left knee. And pressing ourselves up onto the right thigh muscle, slowly shifting forward and back, warming into the left hip flexor. Option to keep the hands on the hips or the thighs. Option to stack the arms. Option as well to keep the arms in cactus. Inhale, lifting the chest, rising high in our lunge. Exhale, sinking forward, perhaps even curling in and opening up. Warming through the chest and the hip of the right side. One more. Good. Inhale, lifting the arms all the way up here, lowering over to the right side, rotating the body, pressing against the right knee, extending our arms long, gazing over our shoulder. Coming back to center, bringing our hands down to the mat, shifting forward and back a little bit more now, activating the hamstring, lifting the toes off the mat as we lean back, generating a little extra energy, a little extra heat to break up the energy in our right hamstring. Maintaining an erect, a tall and elongated spine, hinging at the hip. And if you find a place that you'd like to hang out and chill for a few breaths, you are welcome to do so. Keeping the right foot, toes pointed to the sky, and hinging at the hip, allowing the glutes to lower as close to the heel as you'd like on the left foot. Option here is to extend into a split, pressing the right heel forward, pressing up with the left foot. Perhaps you'd like to lower down, but once again, no movement too far, too fast. We hold where it's comfortable for us today. Perhaps we want to find a block or a bolster, perhaps making fists for wrists. But again, there is no expectation. We listen to our bodies and we do what stretch works best for us. We'll be here for a few more breaths. Good. Pressing the right foot back down to the mat. We'll bring ourselves back into our lunge position. Good. Pressing our left hand down onto the mat, opening up the right arm over top of our bodies. Gentle rotation as we lower the hips towards the mat, stretching out the left hip flexor. Option to come down onto the forearm into a lizard lunge, reaching back to grab the left foot, listening to our bodies. This will enable, coming down onto the forearm will enable us to get off of the left knee, opening up more the quadricep muscle, walking the right foot out wide on the mat in order to maintain stability. Rocking through it if you like. You know I love to rock to get into the fascia and the deep connective tissues. Breathing the quadricep long. Rolling the right shoulder blade back, opening up the chest towards the sky. And maintaining a steady rhythm of breath. Be here for a few more breaths as suits you. Option, of course, to come into child's pose or down dog at any time for restoration. Good. Drawing the left heel into the glute as possible. Not forcing. If we notice a change in our breath, we ease off. Good, one more breath. And we'll extend the left leg long, pressing ourselves back up. And we'll step back into down dog, do the same thing on the right leg. Gentle transition, rinsing out what we've just done with a pedal. Repositioning our cushion for the right knee. On the next inhale, we lift our left foot off the ground. Coming up on the toes of the right foot, gazing forward, stepping through into our lunge and lowering down with the right knee. Pressing ourselves up gently. And then slowly starting to rock forward and back, opening up the right hip flexor and thigh muscles. Keeping our hands on our thighs. Option to bring the hands onto the hips, to stack them over our shoulders, or of course, you are welcome to come into cactus and even to curl through, open up and curl through. Listening to our bodies. Noticing any different sensations on this side. I am definitely feeling tighter here today. I am honoring the state of my right side and gently working through it, breathing the muscles long. Good. Slowly starting to hinge back, lifting the left toes off the mat, working into the left hamstring. With our breath, we flow, inhaling, coming into the lunge, exhaling, floating back. Taking our time, being aware of our bodies, the energy, possible tension or lightness. Once you're ready to hinge back, lower into your hamstrings stretch, you are welcome to, keeping the toes flexed. Once again, there's an option to come into a split, supporting ourselves to not lower too far, too fast. Good. 2 more breaths here. We'll reposition ourselves, gently bringing the left foot back, walking it back, finding my placement on my cushion, and then we'll bring the right hand all the way down to the side of our left foot. Once again, we're lowering into the right hip flexor, opening up our left arm, stacking it on top of the body, walking our left foot out for stability as needed. Option to come onto the forearm, option to reach back, grabbing onto the right foot, drawing it into the glute, coming off of the knee. Listening to our bodies, opening up the left side, rolling the shoulder blade back, maintaining an elongated spine while also drawing the chest towards the sky. Pressing our torsos away from the mat. And check out what's happening in the neck. Can you wiggle it around? Is it neutral? Good. 3 more breaths. Of course, coming into child's pose or down dog at any time for recovery or repair. Releasing the right foot back down, pressing ourselves up with our hands, repositioning, and once again stepping back into down dog. Gently bringing the left foot all the way back underneath us. curling the toes. And on the exhale, we lift the hips, pedaling out the energy we've just generated. Good. Bringing both feet about hip width apart. Lifting the left hand off of the mat and reaching through either on the outside of the thigh or the shin or the ankle. Looking up underneath the armpit, drawing energy from the right hand. Noticing any energy running through the right side of the leg. Possibly even the left shoulder, upper back on the left side. As we reach through, breathing into it, helping to massage the muscles in our back. 2 more breaths, pressing. And repositioning our left hand on the mat, releasing the right hand, and reaching through wherever is most comfortable. Once again, using the right hand and the leg as leverage to open up muscles in the right side of the upper back. Good. 1 more breath, pressing through the hand. Release, lowering all the way into child's pose. Option to open up the legs a little wider. Toes are touching and the knees are on the outside of the mat. Option to sway left to right or to find a still pose, depending on what you might need at this point. Drawing in deep breaths, filling the lungs, exhaling through the mouth, resetting. Enjoying this moment of having stopped. Perhaps taking a moment to reflect on any intention we may have set at the beginning of our practice. Good. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up. Coming back into all fours. Bringing the knees underneath our hips again. Option here to take a sip of water. As we'll be lowering down into prone pose. For anybody that is not in a position to come prone today, you are welcome to skip forward to the end of the session where we come back on our backs. We'll meet you there. For those of us that are interested in coming into prone pose, we'll walk our hands out slightly, pressing up into a plank position so that the hands are underneath our shoulders, maybe wiggling the feet back slightly, curling the elbows forward, lowering into chaturanga, and then all the way back down onto the mat, flattening the feet behind us, pressing up into cobra. Deep breaths in, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Elbows are tucked into the sides of our bodies. Our neck is neutral. We can wiggle the head around. On the next exhale, we'll lower back down. Good. And before let's extend the hands out to the sides, onto the fingertips. Chin is down on the mat. And we'll lift up into oscillating cobra Once again, feet are flat behind us. Inhale, lifting and peeling the chest off the mat. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale, we peel up. Notice the glutes engage. Exhale, lower back down. 3 more. Engaging the glutes protects our lower backs. Good. 1 more. Flowing to the rhythm of our breath. Bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. We're in an 8-pointed touch. Lowering either the chin or the forehead. We have our chest, 2 hands, hips, knees and feet. Lifting up the abdomen from the mat here. Drawing the shoulders back. Dynamic tension through the whole body as we draw and lift the hips off the mat. Good. Go ahead and lower the abdomen all the way back down. Bringing our hands underneath our chins, crossing them underneath our chins, reaching them as far out as they will go, and then slowly lowering the head over top. This might light up quite a bit, so be gentle once again, listening to our bodies, lifting our heads if this is not comfortable. Lifting our heads, bringing our hands back underneath the shoulders, resetting. Option here is to come into an upward bow, bringing our heels into the glutes, reaching back, reaching on to the front of the feet, trying not to misalign our spine in order to get into this position. On the exhale, we can peel the thigh muscles off the mat as well as the chest, pressing the feet into the hands while trying to bring the hands towards our glutes. Feeling dynamic tension in the chest, through the shoulders, arms and upper back, as well as through the thigh muscles, hamstrings and glutes. Deep breath in. And exhale, lower. We'll do 1 more. Taking a deep breath in to reset, allowing all the muscles to loosen. Adjusting the legs as needed. Deep breath in through the nose and exhale out. Finding that dynamic tension, engaging the glutes, and keeping a neutral neck. Deep breaths in and lower down on the exhale. Bringing our arms back underneath us, crossing in the opposite direction, walking the hands wide. And when you're ready, lowering the chin over top. And on the next inhale, we lift our heads, bringing our hands back under our shoulders. Elbows are tucked into our sides, curling the toes under, pressing back up into plank, or simply pushing back into child's pose. Peeling our bodies off the mat, lowering our knees, and just pressing back into child's pose. Good. On the next inhale, we'll draw ourselves up and bring ourselves back into easy seated pose. And then slowly lowering ourselves down onto the mat, one vertebrae at a time, coming into supine, taking another sip of water as needed. Lowering down one vertebrae at a time, shoulders and head. Keeping our feet firmly planted, hip width apart. We'll do a few final asana before our final resting pose. Bringing the knees towards the chest, we'll hug them in. Rocking side to side, optional. Let's go ahead and cross one ankle over the thigh, drawing our hands through, threading the needle. Option to rock or to pulse. Extending the right leg long, bringing the left foot over top of us into a spinal rotation. Keeping our shoulder blades on the mat, we gaze over to the opposite extended leg, arm. Drawing awareness to our breath, the contact of our body on the mat. Good. On the next inhale, we come back to center. Drawing the knees back into the chest, this time bringing the opposite ankle to the opposite knee, threading the needle, rocking or pulsing. And when you're ready, go ahead and extend the lower leg and come into a spinal rotation with the upper leg gazing over to the opposite side of the body, keeping our shoulder blades firmly planted on the mat. Inhaling back to center. Elongate both legs down the mat, bringing our hands to our sides, opening the palms facing up to the sky. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Once again, drawing in new energy, releasing any residual tension or worries that we may be hanging on to. Trusting in our ability to find answers we're looking for, the confidence in ourselves to make the right decisions in life, and trusting that everything will indeed work out as it should in its own time. Always being able to come back to our breath in moments of challenge, finding our exhale, and noticing the calm at the end of each one. With smiles on our faces, we give thanks for the opportunity to practice. We give thanks for the strength of our bodies. And we take our gratitude with us into the world, sharing it with others, filling more people with gratitude and compassion. Thank you all for joining. I wish you a lovely continuation. Namaste.